guys, it's just Martine, and this week I think I'm going to make a mistake. I love a reading challenge, but one reading challenge I've never done is to make my page goal for the day equivalent to my phone pickups from that day on the week before. And that's the mistake we're going to be making this week, because I've learned I pick up my phone a lot. Basically, today is Monday. I looked back at last Monday's number of phone pickups on my phone. It was 135. It's always an auspicious beginning to a reading vlog when I immediately misread something. 138. Good. So the goal is to read at minimum 135 pages today, and then we'll repeat that for every day of the week. We'll find out how many pages I need to read. We'll see if I can manage it. Just saying, Thursday is looking bad. I will also give myself some credit. The app that I most frequently go to when I pick up my phone is Bookly. So usually I'm picking up my phone to start or stop a reading timer, but regardless, that's the challenge. We're going to read a page for every time I picked up my phone last week. So 138 pages starting this Monday. I don't know how I feel about that. It doesn't seem too bad, but then I don't usually track my reading in pages. I usually track my reading in time and mark a successful reading day in terms of the time that I spent reading, not the pages. And I can tell you for a fact that last week there were several days where I didn't even approach 100 pages read in a day. So this being one of the lowest numbers I have to hit this week for page count should be interesting. But I'm going to get to work, not to reading, because I need to do my actual job first. But eventually we'll get around to reading and see if we can manage this. It would be terrible to fail on day one, is all I'm saying. So let's not do that. How about 138 pages today? We can do this. It is 7:47 and I just finished reading my 138 pages for today, and it took me 1 hour, 42 minutes, and 24 seconds of reading to do so. So not terrible, but also definitely more than I read last Monday. I also am a little worried because there's one book that I'm reading right now that is like kind of slow to get through pages, and I'm worried since I'm focusing on pages instead of time necessarily that I will be picking up my shorter reads more than that one, even though I really need to make good progress in that one. So that's something to keep in mind this week, but at least I succeeded on the first day. And tomorrow the number goes up just a little, just by 5 pages. I need to read 143 pages tomorrow. So good luck me. It's Tuesday, just past midday. I've already read 33 pages so far today, so we are off to a start. I just need 110 more pages. Tonight is a really weird night, because usually in the time that I'd eat dinner, which is also around when I would read, I have agreed to do a webinar, a grad school Q&A webinar. So I will not be available during that time. And then right after that, I have to leave to go to choir, and choir ends at 8:30, which is kind of late. So what would be ideal is being done or close to done with today's reading before that webinar ever happens, which means I kind of have to consider being a little flexible with my schedule. I feel weird taking time off in the afternoon. I do it frequently, but I feel weird every time because that is a normal work time. But I will be doing something for work from 5 to 6 p.m. And so I need time for myself too. And I know that's a struggle for a lot of people, but just know every time that I update you in the middle of the day or do something not related to school in the middle of the day, that is an act of strength for me. I have fought with my brain long and hard about that. Today, that's the goal. Get some reading done this afternoon. For the 33 pages that I've read so far, I was reading Desert Creatures, which is the Shelf This book club pick for January. And the live show is this weekend. So I do need to finish that. I'm at 45%. Actually made pretty good progress while I was reading earlier. When I was walking to pick up lunch, I was just reading. So far, it is confusing. And that's what everybody else has said too. I'll definitely tell you more about that when I read more. But what was actually interesting about reading it today around noon was that I have only been reading it like right before bed, which has not helped make it less confusing. I'll just let the record show that. 2 nights ago, I was reading it and actively falling asleep, so for sure I lost a couple pages in there to my brain thinking it was awake when it was not actually paying attention. So it was really weird to read it during the daytime today, but that's going to be what we're continuing to do. I will say my main focus when I'm able to be in the apartment while I'm reading is on physical reads for TBR crime, because I have some and I'm not carrying physical books around reading as I walk. I'm carrying my Kindle. 110 more pages to go today. I can do this. Okay, so it's 2:48 p.m. and I have officially hit my 143 pages for the day, and it took me 1 hour and 52 minutes of reading. It definitely helped that Danielle and Cheyenne had reading sprints this afternoon. That made me focus, so that's good. And I also got some more work done, mainly because there was one work task that was like stuck in my brain. Couldn't get rid of it, so just had to get it done. Just because I hit my reading goal for the day doesn't mean that's the last page I'll read today, but it does mean I at least don't have to worry about failing today, so woo! I mean, existentially, there are so many more things I could fail today, but I'm not gonna fail this challenge today, just to clarify. Happy Wednesday. You might not be able to tell it because I'm wearing a full sweater, but it's 80 degrees outside. Welcome to the end of January in South Florida. I keep my room less than 80 degrees, hence my sweater. It is approaching 1:30 in the afternoon, and I decided I should probably let you know what is up for today. Today I need to read 162 pages. It just keeps going up. Why? Is there some significance to this? It just keeps going up. Okay, 162 pages. I haven't started yet. That's fine. I'm going to start soon, probably shortly after I talk to you, because them's some pages. So far, how do I feel about this challenge? On the one hand, it is a challenge, only because when I don't have a specific challenge like this, I honestly tend to read very little on weekdays. Not always, but like I would say last week, for most of the week, I read for less than an hour every day. Don't fact check me on that. But also, it's kind of nice because it gives me like endpoint in which I have been successful in my reading for the day. There are always so many books I want to read and so many videos I want to make, and it can often make it feel like it is never enough. Last night, I remember I was walking back from choir and I was like, but I got my pages for the day. So when I go home, I can do whatever I want. And I did end up reading a little before I fell asleep, but I didn't feel this pressure to do so. It was just because what else are you going to do sitting in the dark before you fall asleep? So yeah, that's kind of nice. That's all I have to say. Pages. Let's read them. 2 hours and 1 minute of reading later, I have accomplished my task of reading 162 pages. It is just past 4 p.m., so another day successful, and I actually feel like I made decent progress on my books today, so I'm happy about that. I feel like the past few days I've done my reading, but I haven't felt like I've made any substantial progress, which maybe it's not true. Maybe I didn't feel that way, but I feel like I felt that way looking back on it, and today I feel like I've made some good headway, so I'm pleased about that. Today I have to read 201 pages, because apparently last Thursday there was something wrong with me. I don't know why the drastic uptick in the number of times I picked up my phone. Can't explain it. Won't try to, I guess. It's currently 3:20 p.m., and I haven't read a single page yet today, which was partially because I was busy and partially a choice not to read while in motion at some points. It's been a super weird and chaotic day, but like also fulfilling. For reference, as a total side note, this semester is the first semester that my teaching assistant assignment actually involves some teaching. So I'm in charge of this lab section for research methods. And it's kind of chaotic because it's this big computer lab, for some reason longer than it is wide. And so nobody in the back can hear me, is what I've been learning. And also it's hard for them to see the front. And there are just 50 students in there and 50 computers. And today I was introducing them to a statistics software for the first time. And I knew it was going to be chaotic and they were going to have questions, but I guess I didn't realize like how much would happen. I felt like there were two main ways to do this lesson. I felt like I could read them word for word the PowerPoint that was made, or I felt like I could show them in real time what I was doing. And then like show them something, have them do a little of it, answer questions, and then repeat that process. So that's what I did. And it was kind of a hot mess disaster because anything I did on the board, like nobody in the second half, I would say, of the room could see. And there was no way on this software to zoom in. And also there were so many questions. Like I spent most of the class period and even after the class period just sprinting across the room to answer people's questions. At the same time, I feel like it was a success. I feel like I got to know my students better. I felt like this was the most engaged they've been all semester. They were willing to try and be confused and ask questions, and I'm really proud of them for that. I think it helps that I pitched it as like, if you do this along with me during class, then your assignment will be done. It was an interesting time. Crazy things happened. I heard one person's laptop make a sound I've never in my life heard a laptop make. Clearly they'd never heard it either. So that was stressful. Software errors all over the place and just the craziest things. And so no, I haven't read a single page yet today, but I will. And I have plenty of time to because I just entered their attendance grades and I'm gonna try not to think about school for the rest of the day. And I also don't have Zumba tonight like I usually would on Thursday because it's canceled tonight, which is kind of sad, but reading time. So yeah, 201 pages starting now. Reading's gonna feel so calm in comparison to the rest of this day. I'm ready. It's 8:21. It took me 2 hours and 32 minutes. I'm exhausted, but I did it. 201 pages. And I will say, I thought I was going to fall asleep standing up around like 7:50, but then one of the books I was reading got really good. So that kept me awake. But only that. Thank goodness. I really didn't think I was going to make it. Is this the worst day of the week for this challenge? Is 201 pages the worst it gets? Yeah. Yeah, it is. But I made it. I made it. After yesterday's brutal 201 pages, like 201 pages wasn't really the problem, it was just I was excessively sleepy while reading those 201 pages. I'm happy to report that today I actually have the least number of pages from the whole week. Lower even than the Monday. Only by 3 pages, but still. Today I need to read 135 pages, so that feels breezy. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to me. Happy Saturday, second to last day of this challenge. First day of February. I don't know how that happened. It's like time passed or something. The goal for today is to read 162 pages, and if that sounds familiar to you, that's because it's the exact same number of pages I had to aim to read on Wednesday. So Wednesday and Saturday last week, I picked up my phone the exact same number of times. Wacky. Aside from 162 pages today, the notable thing about my reading is that I should be finishing some books. In particular, I'm going to be finishing a book I can talk to you about. Imagine having a single book that's not a secret. Crazy. So let's jump into it. It's 12:24 and I have hit my 162 pages for the day. And among those 162 pages, I did manage to finish Desert Creatures by Kay Chronister, which I'm giving 3 stars. I really wanted to like it, and I think there were elements in this that made me hopeful that I would or could like it, but at the end of the day, I really didn't understand what was happening. And there are 2 types of confusing books for me. There are books I don't understand that really stick in my brain, that make me ponder and think over and over and over again. A good example of this is like Angels in America by Tony Kushner. And then there are confusing books that I don't understand, that I just don't care about at all. And this was one of those. I didn't fully understand. I think there was something I was supposed to understand that I did not, and I don't care that much. This is a weird dystopian horror book, mainly following this girl Magdala and her journey through the desert. It starts when she is a child. The desert is this really weird place with all of these strange creatures, hence the title Desert Creatures. And Magdala is trying to make a pilgrimage to Las Vegas to kiss the bones of Saint Elkanah and have her leg healed. That's her main motivation through like a lot of the book. This book is split up into 3 parts that feel really disjointed, and they are connected, and there is a larger story, but like, it didn't come together in the way that I wanted it to. I said in the Shelf This Discord when I started reading part 3, like, can't wait to see if there's a point. And I do think there was a point, but I don't think I understood that point. I don't think I caught it. So it just felt kind of pointless to me. I didn't care about the characters. I didn't particularly find the setting interesting. I read more interesting desert books, is what I'll say. Even though this had a lot of commentary about theology, I just felt like I wasn't picking up what it was putting down, which is interesting because it's technically like partially sci-fi because it's a dystopian, like futuristic setting. And sci-fi that discusses theology for some reason is a niche that I typically really love. And so when I realized we were going to have some of those discussions, I was hopeful that I'd really enjoy this book, but I just didn't get anything from it. It wasn't bad, hence the 3 stars, but I just didn't get it. And that's okay. I'm making progress in other reads, but as far as the reading that I quote unquote have to do today for this challenge, I did it. Did I mention that it took me like an hour and 49 minutes of reading to hit that 162 pages? I think I might have forgotten to say that, but that's how long it took. Yay for another day of success. Sunday, last day. I do this, I accomplish the whole thing. Okay, I'm stoked. So today, I have to read 155 pages to complete this challenge, which interestingly enough is very close to the average number of pages we've had to read every day. If you add all of the days, all 7 of them up, you divide them by 7, you get like 156 point something. So 155 is actually a very representative day to end this challenge on. So 155 pages, let's do it. I actually have like an hour-long phone call that I will be having before I start reading, but like theoretically, we start now. 2 hours and 57 minutes later, and I have officially finished my page goal for the day, which means I successfully completed this challenge. Did I learn anything? How did it feel? I think it is crazy to me to spend time counting my reading based off of pages when over the years I've made such a shift to focusing on the amount of time that I spend reading. Sometimes this week it felt a little frustrating to do this challenge because I'd be like, I need to read this many pages, and then I would end up reading a really slow book and those pages would just take forever. And so I think focusing on page count over time read kind of encourages me in a way to read faster books because I want to see that page count rack up. And I mean, there is something to be said about my love of faster books anyway. Sometimes like long books can be tricky for me. I love a short book, and so those books necessarily take less time to read than like long books do. So when I'm measuring in time, there's still an element of that, but I still feel like it's different. Like, do you get what I'm saying? It's different. When I'm trying to read 100 pages, I kind of want to rush through the pages. When I say I have to read for an hour, yeah, it's nice to get as many pages read in that hour as I can, but at the end of the day, the goal is based on the time, not the pages, and so I don't have to rush to hit that goal because you can't rush time. Like, time doesn't speed up. So even if I'm rushing through my reading, if I'm reading an hour, like I can't change that. Time is what it is. So there's something that I've stopped really liking about reading based off of pages, but I think obviously this was an interesting challenge to do because it made me consider how often I'm picking up my phone. I do think a lot of the times when I'm picking up my phone, it is to start and stop a Bookly timer. And so like this week even, I definitely picked up my phone a lot because I was reading a lot. So I would read a few pages and then like check my timer and all of those things. I don't think reading made me pick up my phone any less. I do think maybe it made me more conscious of why I pick up my phone, which is good. Like, am I picking it up to start or stop a reading timer, or am I picking it up just to check for a notification that's not even there? Regardless of the fact that reading by pages instead of by time is not my favorite, I think I'm glad that I did this experiment. With that, I'm going to end this vlog. If you liked it, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up and comment down below. If you had to read a page for every time you picked up your phone based on yesterday's phone pickups, how many pages would you be reading today? And subscribe for more bookish and college lifestyle content. And until next time, bye humans, bye!